Hello people, this is Mark from Carriage Works. I hope that you're well. I found myself at a nice little place in the middle of Stoke-on-Trent somewhere. Basically it's a little pond. I'll show you. Little pond with some nice little fish. Just nice relaxing area. And I chose to pick this little place. One, because I used to come here at a previous job frequently to do whatever was needed to be done, and it's nice, and I haven't been here for a long time. So in any case, let's begin by saying, please, if you find this video interesting or challenging or made you think, whatever the case might be, please subscribe and share and comment, and all the YouTube stuff. I'd really appreciate that, as well as Laura, because we do appreciate your involvement and your comments, and in the hopes that it will reach far and wide. So let's talk about today's little video. Guys, I'm going to talk to you about context, and let me just give you a little definition which a friend of mine has typed out for me from his perspective, not necessarily mine, but his perspective, and it reads as follows. Context means viewing the interrelated conditions that surround an act, an idea, a place, or intention, to see or locate that thing within the wider picture of events, places, meanings, etc. That's it. That is all he wrote as far as his definition is concerned. Let's talk about why we're talking about context today. Said friend Kevin, he's the guy who I made the video on one of the samples with a nice sunset and church in the background with one of the hypnosis samples that I made. Same man, good man he is. In any case, him and I have regular conversations, some very, very deep and others less deep, but deep nonetheless. And yesterday we had to go to London from Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke-on-Trent, not a bad place to drive, has its times. However, London is a mad place if you're a driver, particularly if you've got no idea where you are. That's it. Kevin gives me the postcode to use to get to where we need to be. Now, in England, it works like this. If you've got a sat-nav that's up to date, which mine wasn't, and that was part of my problem, we put in the postcode of said address and we jump in the car and we commute south. Halfway there, the sat-nav decides to take us east, but we need to go south. However, we think it's going to cut east and then it's gonna wind down another main road to get to said place a little bit quicker. No, did not happen at all. Frustrating, that I know. In any case, we get down to London. Now, as I said before, London is a mad place to drive, especially if you've got no idea where you are. So you have to quite heavily rely on a sat-nav, or unless you know where you're going. In my case, I haven't got a clue. So we follow the sat-nav, and it's turn left, turn right, take the third exit, turn right, turn whatever. And we were going around in circles. How absolutely frustrating and stressful you can imagine, can't you? Now, in context, it simply means we couldn't see where we were, because the sat-nav focused in on one little area and we couldn't relate to where we were in relationship to other landmarks. We couldn't find our way in terms of where we needed to go. We were dependent on very bad information that came from an out-of-date sat-nav database. And we spoke about the importance of context, and as the little definition that it says, it is the interrelated conditions, it's interrelated information that gives us meaning for something else. Once we understand the meaning in the context of where we are, things all of a sudden make more sense. However, let's take the sat-nav scenario again. It kind of just focuses on one area, where if we had the old-fashioned maps, we could then look at where we were in relationship to other towns and villages that surround where we were at, giving us a far greater idea of where we were and which direction we needed to go. And that is the importance of context in life. If things happen and we just see it today, now, at this point in time, we see things out of context. And the reason why it's out of context is because we only see the immediacy of the event, the information, or whatever the case might be, but we can't see what's preceded it for a day or two or a week, a month, or 100 years for all that we know. And that is the danger of not seeing things in context. And when we consider how we as humans function, we are meaning-seeking machines. We always want to find out what that means. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for them? What does it mean for the government? What does it mean for the atmosphere? What does it mean for wildlife? What does it mean for, whatever the case might be? We are always searching for meaning. And we can't be meaningful if we're out of context. So when we start speaking, and before we start, the critical, the judgmental, the oppressive attitudes, whatever the case might be, the blaming, whatever, the fault finding, we always will only see the small, immediate issues. We might not necessarily see the bigger picture. Guys, that's all I want to say at this point in time is, bear in mind, we only see things in the here and now. We might not necessarily appreciate what happened last week. That is a consequence of the now. Guys, this is it for now. This is Mark from CodeXChangeWorks. I'll speak to you soon.